Page 6, the Christmas Waltz. 3/4 time, of course it's a waltz, duh. 1 flat, so it's either F major or D minor. Let's look at the end. The last measure is here, at the bottom of page 7. It's an F chord, so I'm guessing this is an F major. I'll talk about it one hand at a time. We have problems in these kinds of music because this isn't really intended for piano. This is a vocal piece with an orchestral accompaniment and all that, and they make piano solo arrangements out of it. Well, since it's not really piano music, it doesn't fall into the fingers all that well. We do the best we can. So at the beginning, in the right hand, you hear those fermatas. I'm going to hold each one 2 counts instead of 1 because I'm going to do this with a metronome. Otherwise, you feel this. It's like, get ready, get set, go type thing. Well, okay. So we're here, and then here. Reach down if you can. If you can't reach it, then you'll have to move. But here, and then 5th finger, it's an octave, and then 4th again because we got another D coming up. Don't forget the B flats. And then 2nd line, 4th finger. You reach up, little finger. Rest, come down, and then down here. And then they say a 1 here. I do a 4 and then a 1. You need 1 on one of those E's, and you can do a 1 on like they're doing. It's fine if you want, but I tend to do that because I just tend to do it. It's beginning of a measure, and it's and the natural accent. Bam, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And that's where I just tend to change that. It's a personal thing. You can use their fingering fine. You can do the 1 there if you want. And then lift up for the phrase. Now, last line. This doesn't work real well what they're doing. And then lift up. Ugh. I suggest you do this on the last line. You're here, and then for the next measure, do a 1. Just cross the 1 under it. Now you're in position. Here, you're going to come down. The pedal I help connect it. Do the best you can with the fingers. And then 2, 4. And then now they've got phrasing in here, and that's fine. It's following the phrasing in the words. At the top of page 7 there's a phrase here. That's fine. Then the phrase, rest, new phrase, then thumb, and now they're saying, now the C is tied. You see that one of those curved lines is to the C. You're going to tie it and just play an F sharp. If you don't want to put a thumb here, then after you play this, substitute a thumb here. And then your 2nd finger is ready for it. So it's here. Here, and then here. And then lift up. It's similar to the beginning, but we've added an F sharp to it. 5. Or a 2, 5 or a 1, 5, either one, and then you can do a 2, 4 or a 1, 4 or 2, 5. You find the fingering that's going to work with you here because the pedal's going to connect it. So it's not as important here. It's not like we're feeling this part because it's held, and you're going to hold it a little longer. With a metronome, I'm just going to hold each of these 2 counts, but you'll hold them longer than that typically when you're playing it. And then the next one, they say 5. I disagree. I would do a 3 here. You're there. I see no reason for a 5. Just stay there. And at the end, now you can do a 5 because you need the other fingers. Here. And then that's tied out all the way to the end. You don't just hold it down. That's it. What is it? That's a challenge. With the left hand, keep the left hand soft and out of the way. It's the chords. I tend to do on the next measure, this is the 3rd measure at the top of page 6 with the left hand, the 3rd measure of the left hand. is I tend to do up here. So I don't have to move my hand around so much. So again, the left hand is here, and then here, and then here. You can use your fingering. I just don't see why. I don't like moving that much. So, and then here. Then I do a 4. Again, to me, I can do a 4 more easily than a 5. To go from the F sharp C to the G, you can use 5. To me, 4 is easier. And then we'll come down. I do a 4-2-1 there at the last measured third line, here, and then here. Do that some more, you know. Do it as legato as you can with the hands. You can't really with the chords and moving around, but when you can, do it legato. Then try putting the hands together, and again, you can forget the rhythm at first if you need to concentrate. You can in the left hand there, it's the third line down in the first measure on page 7. You're here. You can do a 2 on the B flat if you want. I can do a 2 on both. And then go on. Do a 3-2 on the last one, that last 2 measures left hand. Here I do a 4-2. If your hand's big enough, otherwise you got to use their finger. I don't like using the thumb that much. And here, and then a 3. Or a 2-1, because you can slide off. It's a personal thing. You decide what you want, and then stick with whatever you decide. Now work it out slowly, gradually get the rhythm in, get the phrasing in. You can add the dynamics eventually after you get to know the piece. There's a retardando at the end, or at the bottom of page 6, first measure. You can pause, slow down here, and then an alt tempo means take off again. Now moderato, that's somewhere in the middle. You can find recordings of this. And then make sure there's silence in the second measure, that last line here. Between the first 2 beats, here and lift up. Don't connect those. I'll talk about the pedaling in a minute. And so forth. Work it out so you can get it with the fingers. And then once you have that, you don't have to have it up to speed, just somewhere in there. Then you can add the pedal. And for the most part, it's legato pedaling, but I like to hear the phrasing, so we're going to adjust pedaling just a little bit. Here I think they're kind of oversimplifying a little bit. Let's take a look at it. At the top of page 6, at the end of the first line, you see the simile underneath next to the pedal markings. Simply means continue to pedal it the same way you were pedaling it. And what they were pedaling is each measure. You change it at each measure. They're telling you to keep doing that. But I'm going to change that a little, so yeah. But for the most part, it would be pedaling each measure. We don't pedal the first 2 beats. Keep those simple. This is the ready set part, and then when we go, then we add all these overtones. And it's overlapping. You push the notes down and then the pedal. And then I change the pedal after I play the notes. Now on the second line, 4th measure here, I don't pedal that measure. Watch on the 3rd line here. In my opinion, believe it or not, on those 2nd and 3rd measure here, you don't need to pedal the 4th beat, or the 3rd beat, excuse me. You just lift it up. Don't even pedal the 3rd beat. And then at the last measure, the 3rd line, lift the pedal up and don't pedal anymore. See, we have a little problem here. We don't want to mess this up. It's thinning out here. It needs to clean up. But we want to connect the chords. We can't do that without the pedal. So what I do, you don't have to do this, but you can experiment with it. Something to think about is I don't pedal until the end when I'm only pedaling long enough to connect the chords in the left hand. Now there, the last beat of the 1st measure, there I'm pedaling it the way they're saying. So again, starting with the last measure, the 3rd line, it's lift up, now pedal, now lift up after I play the notes, now pedal the way they're saying to. So all I'm doing is pedaling to connect these notes. I'm not following the melody here, I'm following the chords. Until I get to the last beat of that 1st measure. Now I can pedal it the way they're doing it. But lift up, it's a new phrase. There was silence there. Total silence, just for a moment. I'm not pausing, I could, but I'm not. And I'm not pedaling that, that's clean again. And now we're off like we were at the beginning. So really slowly. The 2nd line going and playing the 3rd. They'll be the last 2 lines of page 6. We're here. Like so, sort of. Then going on. See, at the top of page 7, we lose that phrase. Go ahead and lift up with a hand. But you won't hear it because the pedal's going to cover it up. See? And at the last measure, the 1st line on page 7, I don't pedal that. On the 2nd line, on the 3rd and 4th measures on page 7, I don't pedal the 3rd beat. And now here, just like they're saying to, I don't have any break in the sound here. It's all connected, and then back to here. So a lot of of this you can pedal the way they're doing it. I just like to hear the phrasing and some of the blurriness you don't need. A lot of times in waltzes, you'll only pedal the first beat or maybe the first 2 beats of the measure, and that's it. And you can experiment with that anytime you get a waltz. Try just the first beat of the measure and what does it do. Reinforces that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But in this one, a lot of it, because of the notes, we kind of need at least the first 2 beats. So it's here. And a lot of this, you can get away with pedaling just the first 2 beats because that takes out the blurriness in the right hand. It helps to keep it clean. So you have to experiment with the pedal, but that comes after you get to know the piece. I like to do a play with me with you slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. So I'm going to give us 4 counts because we come in on beat 2. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, go, and then and every fermata here I'm going to hold each of those quarter note fermatas 2 counts instead of 1. So let's try this slowly and see what happens. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, hold. 3, hold. 1. Hold